I remember. Remember, I told you that these fellows, I really, really appreciate what they are doing. And it is very, very wonderful to meet you again this afternoon of Wednesday, the 7th of June 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, today, the Wednesday, the 8th. Why am I taking the dates behind? The 8th of June, 2022. We are fast moving. But before we go, let's listen. When I remember, is there anything that you remember concerning our history? If there is anything you remember concerning our history, you have the opportunity this evening to call into our number and then tell us what you can remember. All right, let's go. Sister, please, can you give us that piece when you remember? And that is when I remember, and when we remember. Ambazonia is remembering that there was a time in the history of the creation of the world. They were created as a people in land, but some criminals came over and tried to take over. But then we can now remember. So let's get over to when I remember. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The thoughts of the Lord towards you are thoughts of peace. And when I remember, ladies and gentlemen, you have our phone number over there. Before we go, I would like you that when you remember, also know that He knows your name. He knows your name. I want us to listen to He knows your name, and then from there, we dive into what we have for you today. Today, we are resounding what has happened or what happened over the last weekend. the Amba draft, the humanitarian draft that uh, the Amazonian people have actually put their hands into their pockets to do, because we are now having the last drive. The last drive. I'm sure you listened to the Secretary of State for Communications yesterday evening, Dr. Martin Mungwa. He explained to us very, very vividly the situation of La République du Cameroon. And from a historical point of view, he did mention to the Amazonian people of the situation of the colonial masters, or rather the impostors, the La République du Cameroon, that after every 10 years, these people go bankrupt. I'm sure you heard that very, very well. And then count the bankruptcy that has happened after these insurgents, of which the Amazonian people have stood up to say, hey, we are not going to let it go again. Right now, let's listen to Abai Father. You know my name, you know the name of Amazonia, and then I'll bring you the tidbits that we have for you today. Now, over to you. Reverend Sama, please come in with me to the studios, okay? God bless you as we...
So, and you know my name. I give you glory, Abba Father. You know me, you know my name. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. You know my name, oh daddy, you know me, you know my name. I can see your hand in my life, Lord. I see your love upon me. Every time I look around, now you are the see. Every time I turn around, now you are the view. I dey hear your voice in my heart. Lord, I feel your love over me. Every time I look around, now you are the sea. Every time I turn around, now you are the pillow. Abba Father, you know my name. Papa, you know me. Yeah. Yelele, 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 yelele. Yelele, 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 yelele. Yeah, yeah. Jesus, your love, now oh. My master, your kindness, now wonder oh. Every time I look around, now you are the sea. Every time I turn around, now you are the view. Jesus, you said I be a picking, no. Jesus, you said your love will cover me. Every time I look around, now you are the sea. Every time I look around, now you are the pillow. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name.
The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges.
The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with undaunted ABC Amba News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, and 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amba TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amba TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the
Thank you very much. Thank you very much over there, the ladies at ABC Amba News platform. We really appreciate you are part of the historical rendering for the people of Ambazonia to know exactly where they are coming from. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the 8th of June 2022, and you are tuned into our Amba history. Our Amba history brings you updates of the current events that are turning into history, and of course, a repeat of the historical facts that are unknown. A few days ago, we listened to our historian, Jotanga, giving us the details of the French franc and the implications, of course, and the plan from time immemorial. What wonders me and what makes me to think very deep is what happened that these people not only look at the present, but look into the future. Yes, it's because we have been picked into believing that the future is ending now. And that's why everybody is trying to grasp for himself and not learning from those fellows who are forecasting and going ahead to lay up treasure for their posterity. I think it is time that we, the Amazonian people, get ourselves very much educated. Now, the last talk we had with Jotanga, he emphasized that while executing this war, knowing for sure that there is nothing that has a beginning that does not have an ending, he started educating the Amazonian people who are abroad, who are in the diaspora, to do everything to get the technical know-how of the industrial knowledge of the people out there, their machines, what they do, how they convert them, how they get raw materials and convert them into consumable stuff at the end, because we have a lot of these raw materials, and it is time we begin to get ready. Because when we get back home, as nobody's giving us our country, I'm sure nobody's going to come in to come and develop our country. And if nobody's going to come in to come and develop our country, I think that we should get ready, really, really get ready, and have our country also get our people to get ready to develop our country. We have seen and we have heard of numerous programs on the social media purportedly run by some of these white folks who are racist and who are imperialist, talking on how they must make sure they hinder the African continent from actually developing into what they are supposed to be. And so such audios and such utterances, whether done in secret or in the open, are meant to give us, the people of Africa, the sense of arising and not only face the politics of the day that have been polluted by the politicians, but to also face the industrial world, because he who controls the economy is that individual that controls the politics. We have seen a number of people, a number of coups have taken place, organized and orchestrated by very rich folks. We don't know how they got their money, but they will be able, they sponsor such destructions and destructive activities in the African continent. And so we want to get people who are really, really humanitarian, not those who are psychopaths. And then when something happens, they pretend to to shed crocodile tears and remorse. And they are not even remorseful. They are pretending. I mean, the best way to call it, they become very, very hypocritical, and they carry out activities like, for example, whenever there is a disaster, you find a lot of countries rushing into that area, a disaster that would have been prevented. I'm not talking about natural disasters that just come without any, but disasters that would have been prevented, like these wars that are taking place, the genocide that is taking place in Ambazonia. I remember they got up and they were pretending to be very serious after the Rwanda massacre. They got up and said, never again, it shall never happen again in Africa. But today we see that almost every person in those organizations, the African Union, the European Union, the United Nations organization, the Commonwealth, all of them are sitting in a conspiracy of silence and only waiting for another terrible Rwanda to take place, so they can rush in pretentiously to carry away the raw materials under the canopy and the guise of coming to help. Meanwhile, at this point that France has made it in such a way that La République du Cameroon is executing our people little by little, very little by little. They are not doing anything. They're just sitting down there and waiting, thinking that the worst will happen. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell all of you who are folding your hands and watching and without doing anything, that you are on the wrong side of history. And the history of God, especially for Ambazonia, shall judge you. I want to come to the Ambazonians who are still sitting on the fence, and those of you who were deceived and you have now noticed and known the truth of what is going on. We want to still extend an olive branch for you to come in and draft, so that we can use this draft to save our people that are languishing and lavishing in terrible situations in La République du Cameroon, and also especially in Nigeria, so that we can make them have a feeling of at least getting back home. So what I want to say today is that the interim government, the Mr. President, Dr. Samuel Sarko Ekome, is still visiting the counties, and one of the counties that is in front to be visited, I think is Mezam, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to find out, so that by the time I'm talking to you tomorrow, I'll be very, very concrete about this. Remember, ABC doesn't just say things by assumption or by just thinking. Yeah, but I know that Mezam is on the pipeline for the presidential visit, And again, you all witnessed the pre-launch of the draft that is coming up. And not too long from now, the Director of Resource Mobilization, Nijo, will be giving us a program on how to push on with this draft for the different counties. Nijo, we will be called upon sometimes again on ABC to give us a rundown when all the counties have actually complying in the sense of getting their dates for the draft and putting their records straight and making sure that the security for our draft for the purpose for which it's meant is absolutely under control. I want to tell Ambazonians that history has been made again. When some people discovered that they were not in position of siphoning our money, $135,000, $65,000, and other counties that they have sat tight on money that was contributed in 2020, they've not given an account. They discovered that there is no way for them to pick up this draft that is coming, and they went out with the propaganda, no draft, because they knew that there was no way a dime was going to get into their pocket. That we do understand and understand very well. And so we call on Ambazonians to come in en masse and to make sure that you bring in your contribution. Can you imagine that you go and close the tap from the main source, and then you come and open the tap in your house? You have closed the main fountain, the main button where the water source is coming, and then you now come and tell the people to open your taps, open your taps. What am I saying? You know, when our money for 2021 and 2020 was siphoned, the people who stole the money turned around and began to ask the Commander-in-Chief, Dr. Samuel Sakoe, the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, what have you done? What have you done? What have you done? After they have stolen all the money that $135,000 that is still in oblivion right now, when Mr. Man came out and said they were scammed, we don't know who scammed them for what, and the chairs who were who connived with the former VP when he was telling them, oh, the materials have been done, we are just waiting for collection and so on, and other countries rushed in and gave money, and the money disappeared. So today they are so discouraged, and they are making propaganda as to what is really going on wrong with them. What is going wrong with you is that you are all wrong, because your assertions are all wrong. But then the interim government has continued, and last Saturday we saw proof, and a lot of people are contributing and bringing in their monies, and we will be able to execute this fight again this year, beginning this July. I'm very optimistic that very soon, not too long from now, I am not very conscious of the time. I can't make any timing here because the Director of Resource Mobilization, Nijo is going to come and then announce to the entire Ambazonian people when the drafts from different counties will be coming up. And we want to encourage every county to let you know that most of the moles that were granite, or rather rats, wanting that they should use granite to block their hole, they have been taken out either by God or by the Holy Spirit or by themselves or by the government, one way or the other, because this revolution, as I told you, as we have been telling you, is God ordained. And because it is God ordained, nobody can come in and play the gimmicks that they play out there. If you are a dirty politician and you have dirtied the politics that God put in place, I want to let you know that it is not taking place in Ambazonia. Ambazonia is going back to its foundation. Many of you have listened to the plight of Ambazonia and have listened to where it came from and where it is going now in this century, after more than 60 years of turning around in the wilderness and torture and manipulation and maltreatment. We are now moving forward. I want to let the Amazonian people know. Let me see if I have an incoming call. Um, hello? Hello?
Hello?
Are you calling to talk on number on the
Hello?
hello? You're on ABC Amba
Hello,
TV.
Pastor Komando?
Yes, you're on ABC Amba TV. Are you
Hello?
hello?
Yeah, I'm talking to I'm
You are on
yes.
ABC. Yes, go
I
ahead.
want to tell you that hello? I'm
Go ahead. You're on live ABC.
in that in that platform or the IG. There's so many thieves were put there to ridicule the IG.
Right.
But they failed. That group of thieves headed by eh, headed by Chris Anu with a big mouth. We call them Alibaba and the 40 thieves.
Okay.
We call them
Where are you calling from, sir? Hello?
because so many people were put there. They did not know that they were thieves.
Where are you calling
I'm
from?
calling from the Atlantic zone,
Okay.
preferably in the Muyuka LGA, the hot seat of
Okay, listen to me. Don't listen to your TV. Can you turn down your TV, please? Oh,
of Fako division.
all right. Our caller is
Okay.
having it mixed up there. I think caller, when you are talking, reduce your television behind you and just listen to the phone that you are using and listen to me on the phone. Okay, thank you very much for that input there from Muyuka LGA in Fako County, giving us a feedback that all the moles and the thieves have been taken out as a result of what these guys have done. And we are very, very grateful that the people on home front are able to dictate and to know who is saying what for what. And when we see people on home front telling us exactly what we know that the die is cast. And so, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, I just want you to listen to this caption again to our
The importance
Amba.
of storytelling can never be overemphasized. Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Amazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambertv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team.
Thank you very much over there, Oni and Smart, for that brief introduction and advert for the people of Ambazonia to know that we are pushing on. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Muyuka LGA, I want to tell you something that is going to come up Saturday. Put it down in your calendar. Saturday is going to be the 11th of June. It is going to be a day with a difference. I don't know, General Fombat is going to come live on ABC and give us the true story of the Fako saga. So 5 p.m. Amber time on Saturday, put it down in your geography or in your history or in your calendar or whatever instrument you have, just put it down that General Fombat shall be on ABC to give us what we call first-hand information as an insider of all that has been happening in Muyuka and the Muyuka LGO in Fako. Not only Muyuka, but in the Fako LGA as a whole. Now, that is what is going to happen on Saturday, the 11th of June 2022. Beginning from, in fact, let me not let the cat out of the bag. I don't know the details, but here on ABC, we are extremely very, very careful not to say things that we cannot substantiate. And so the man himself, General Fombad is going to come on the air and tell us the whole story. Remember, we are on Amba history, our Amba history. And I told you that many of the things that are going on, we are making progress, and the current events are gradually turning into our history that is going to be inscribed. If we don't write it down, we will tell you verbally. And of course, when you hear it verbally, we are going to have our children's children know exactly where we came from and where we are going. Meanwhile, just listen to this.
The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is to draft. Draft and draft and draft. People of Ambazonia, draft.
Why the war draft is a must now. Fellow Ambazonians, after 5 years of relentlessly fighting for the liberation of our homeland from the genocidal occupation of French Cameroon, it's very important that we remember why we are fighting and why it's so absolutely necessary that we continue to fund the struggle by joining the war draft and making even greater sacrifices than before. When the United Nations General Assembly in Resolution 1608-XV of April 21, 1961, granted independence to the Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia, they did not expect that 61 years after, this territory will be forcefully annexed and colonized by a belligerent neighbor. It must be noted here that the territory of the Southern Cameroons had already attained self-government as early as 1954, a status we enjoyed up to 1972, when the state of West Cameroon, Southern Cameroons, was illegally annexed, overrun and occupied by French Cameroon. And because the Southern Cameroons within secure internationally recognized boundaries, she had a functional police force under the direct command of the Prime Minister and head of government.
Thank you very much, Oni, for just coming in and buttressing what we should know as we continue with our history. I want to encourage the Ambazonians to please sit down quietly whenever you hear that the undaunted news is coming up. Sit down quietly and learn your history. Do you know that one of the fundamentals that is actually making the La République du Cameroon and some of their elements to be so dummy and stupid is because they do not know their history? It has been hidden from them for a long, long time. And that's why French and France is exploiting them and trying to extend their tentacles of exploitation over to Ambazonia. But guess what? The Ambazonians have said no to this exploitation, no. And so Ambazonians, rise up. It is time for the people of Ambazonia to arise and do the best that they can do. At home front, do you know that at home front you can also draft? Oh yes, you can draft. What is your draft? Your draft is, one of your first draft is to maintain the government instructions. Like the country Sunday, you don't move out. That is part of the sacrifice that you are giving for this draft. If the whole population of Ambazonia will sit down tight to announce to the world that the president, the president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia has passed a decree, and that decree is to make sure that the people of Ambazonia sit down every Monday, then they will now understand that we are on the move, and we are on the move. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know that a number of people have come up and tried to discourage people from the historic country Sunday, as we call it, that they have put in place? Do you know that a number of people have come up of the historic country Sunday to say, no, it should be stopped, it should not continue, is this, we have punished our people enough. Meanwhile, they are the ones that actually have been joining hands with La Republique to make sure they fight the interim government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. But then President Sako of the interim government has resisted and stood firm. And today, our SOS for communication, the communication secretary, Mr. Mungwa Martin, yes, Mr. Mungwa Martin has told us that we are capable, we are ready. And of course, other members of the interim government, the interim House of Representatives, you've seen the chair lady come up to unequivocally tell us very clean and clear, in terms that if you call her up in the evening and call the members of the interim House of Reps to say something, they will talk with one mouth. You know, that is how organized and how coherent the people of Ambazonia would want to be. Now, there is mutual respect for every institution that this interim government has put in place, irrespective of how do I call it? The copyright. No, not copyright, because they were not given the copyright. Irrespective of the fact that these fellows actually stole our name, and they are running with the name, running with the name, which the interim government has continued with its name. The other people who stole the name and ran with it for a long time suddenly discovered that everything and anything they were doing wasn't getting well. They decided to identify themselves with the IG Care. We are now looking forward to the other people who have just left the interim government and canvassing and colluding with people that they had fought before. Enjoy some excerpts of some people who went to a particular social media. I won't mention it here. And the chief of the social media was bombarded with what he thought was going to be a favor to him. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh Lord, I will. Look, you see, ladies and gentlemen, it is so sweet to be on the side of truth and to speak the truth, to the people of Ambazonia. We are cruising at a very, very powerful speed, and anybody who has joined this interim government, please fasten your seatbelts. Our pilot, Dr. Samuel Sako Ekome, the president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, together with all the instruments that are propelling and making this flight to take off in a very successful way, definitely will land us in a very successful way. And so we want to let you know that the interim government is coming up again with the APP platform that has been stolen, and many stories have been made, but we will be going back there. But for now, the interim government has not stopped that branch, that organ, because it was created by the interim government, that is Ambazonian, the platform for Ambazonians to come in with all the government and intergovernment platforms to carry out the activities that is pushing us to go to Boya. We must remain very much alert. We must alert. We must yes, we must remain very, very alert and continue with what we are to continue with, so that we can make it in Boya. That's very clear. We'll make it in Boya. And so, my dear friends, before we go ahead, I just want you to note that the Ambazonian are getting ready to come up very, very powerfully with what we call their draft. And I just want you to listen to this again that is coming up to us. Listen.
The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with undaunted ABC Amba News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed.
Yes. How much will the people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage of La République du Cameroon? They have recruited all kinds of fake media outlets, recruited all kinds of activists that have nothing to offer but lies that they say today, tomorrow they contradict. But you have seen the consistency of the people of Ambazonia. We are the people that hold the keys to our destiny. And a number of people who had joined us in holding the keys to our destiny have suddenly defected, and they are now on the other side. And those of them who are on the other side are doing their possible best, extreme best, to make sure that our history is distorted. Hey, but do you know, dear friends, our history can never and must not be distorted. Yes, the media in those days was having a monopoly of some few knuckleheads. And these knuckleheads are people who actually wanted to deprive the majority of people from knowing the real truth that is going on. But today, thank God for the social media. It's good, although it's bad, but it's very good at this point to make everybody to be privileged to listen to what he or she is listening. But we must give you caution here. Reading from the historical book that I have as a history manual, it tells me, take heed, be very careful what you hear, and also be very careful how you hear. And so we have so many social media outlets. Some will come in there with outright lies and blow off your mind, and some will come in there with truth. And sometimes when this truth comes in, a number of people are prone to lies. As the history book tells me, that there are a lot of people that have what we call itchy ears. Itchy ears means an individual or individuals who want to hear what they want to hear, at least something that will gratify them, something that will make them look otherwise. Well, I am here. Today is Wednesday, the 8th of June, 2022. And I want to tell you that General Fombard is coming up on Saturday. Listen to when I'm making the announcement, because I have gotten tidbits of our history from what happened during this reign of our beloved president, Dr. Samuel Sako Ekome. He has been a Moses in the wilderness of Ambazonia. Waters have tried to swallow him, and a number of things have made him to strike the rock instead of just talking to the rock. And even that, as a human being, he has stood, and he's standing, and we will stand. As goes the leader, so goes the followers. Now, we are not talking about spectators here. We are talking about followers. And Ambazonians came out on Saturday, the 4th of June, to prove to our president Dr. Samuel, that, hey, you are not just having spectators, you are having followers. Please keep up the good job. Want to say thank you very much to all the branches of the government, the judiciary, the ethics, and the the House of Reps for your good work, the county representatives, and the LGA, how do you call them, overseers or chairs or whatever name you call yourselves. Those of you who are in for us to go to Ambazonia, don't forget your predecessor who took the other side of the globe with lies, I mean great lies. They are watching to see you come up with reality. Remember, it is not just talking, it is action. And action has been shown last Saturday, and now we are getting ready for the draft. And as I told you, the director of resource mobilization, Nijo, will be coming up very powerfully on ABC to let you people know exactly what we are about to do in this end time for the people of Ambazonia. This end time is going to be a time with a very big difference for the people of Ambazonia. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to crave your indulgence to stay put and keep watching. In a very short while, you will be receiving the Hour of Freedom with Reverend Dr. Victor Mba, and of course, with his colleague. They will be coming up to tell you the freedom that God has given to us. Remember, on our history, I've been telling you that this battle is not only fought physically. If it was only a physical battle, the majority in the physical will definitely defeat the minority in the physical. But guess what? The minority in the spiritual are the real autotones, the real owners of the battle. And so the minority in the spiritual will face the majority in the physical and put their backs on the ground. Amali, the lizard, the fighter, in Chino Achebo's book, Amali, his back was never thrown on the ground. And that is how Ambazonians have risen from 1961, when their independence and their territorial integrity was tampered and gotten into by France through La République du Cameroon. They have been struggling to make sure that we are completely annihilated. But then, when God says no, who can say yes? And when he says yes, who can say no? Now, we have told France to gather together with China and with North Korea and bring all the arsenals that they have. They can even go to Israel and bring the gas chambers, that they now have the, how do you call them, chemical weapons, which they attempted to use in Bali some years ago. Yeah, they use chemical weapons to decimate our people, and the whole world is keeping quiet. They all know that. They are keeping quiet, and they are doing it gradually. Like I told you, they will not want to rush in and do it like it was done in Rwanda, because they know that if they do it openly like that, it will be very, very clear, and people will know that, hey, these Republicans, La Republique is out for something very, very dangerous, and the whole world will raise an eyebrow. And even the corrupt leaders of the African Union who pledge to make sure that the minority peoples of Africa will not be mistreated and mismanaged and trampled upon by the majority are in conspiracy of silence to the people of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia under his president, Dr. Samuel Sako Ekome. But then we want to let you know that in 2018, which is our history, Dr. Samuel knew that the powers of the world were tilting towards another direction, and so he quickly handed over our land to the Lord Jesus Christ, whom today the Ambazonians now say our revolution, our struggle is God ordained. And because it is God ordained, God has taken over, and we are seeing him working out things. Ladies and gentlemen, let's join hands with this servant of God and see that everybody contribute his truth and his best ability, and we will be getting to Boya sooner than later. Yes, because if you come in to contribute, a number of people that we have seen over the few past years, they came in here. Some of them were scammers, and so they carried the scamming into the interim government. And today, go and find out the coup plotters. You will know that three-quarter of them, if not all of them, are people who have embezzled money and pointed a finger at the innocent person, because uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. And so anything that is done under there, they point fingers to him. We have seen it happen over and over and over and over again. But then we are resolved, we are determined, because this is God ordained. I've even heard some people who are agents of darkness confess that this struggle is God ordained. Even though they are fighting against the struggle, but they still confess with their mouth that it is God ordained. That is a plus to all the positive people of Ambazonia who are marching towards the end, that it is God ordained. And once you know that it is God ordained, you have to march ahead and really, really march ahead. I will not forget to let the Ambazonian people know that our brother UN has been very, very, very instrumental, and he is just going ahead and doing whatever he is doing that is for the good of the people of Ambazonia. Yes, and once he jumps into doing the best of the best that is for the people of Ambazonia, I also hear some people on home front. Remember, we put up a number for you at home front to call. We have just 7 minutes to go right now, and then we'll be calling it off and then getting into the hour of freedom, of which the president himself instituted, the hour of freedom, and made us to come and tell the Ambazonian people the freedom that has been given to us, that we should not find ourselves again in the yoke of bondage. Yes, when you are given freedom, you would like to walk back into bondage if you like. I'm told in the history book that on the 50th year, the Jubilee of Liberation, some slaves will go and tell their masters that I have served you all these years, I want to continue with you. They will take a big oil, a big iron, boil it in fire, and pierce through their ears and mark them as slaves forever, because they have refused to use the Jubilee that is given to them by God. And so we are telling Ambazonians, our Jubilee has come, and we cannot continue to be slaves in the hands of France through its proxy, La République du Cameroon. And I remember that a few days ago, you were told very clearly that La République du Cameroon does not have independence. They are not independent. So a country that is not independent cannot grant or cannot receive a country that is going to receive its independence. I just imagine and wonder very highly the hypocrisy and the wickedness of the world, that they will tell Ambazonia to either join Nigeria, that is independent, that one is clear, and Cameroon, which is not independent up till today, to join them for their independence. And a country that was not and is not independent, then we go to join them. I've told you, and you have heard from so many historians here, that Paul Biya, Ahijo, they were just secret police. The real person that leads and is ruling La République of Cameroon is the ambassador of France. You remember a few years ago when Paul Biya was actually bedridden, it was not the Minister of Armed Forces that presided over the graduation at the EMIA. It was the French ambassador. To tell you that, I just overheard the Secretary of State for Communication tell them about the 7,000 French people that are in La République du Cameroon. What are they doing there? They are the ones who draw up their budget. They are the ones who give instructions. They are the ones who say what is to be said in the assemblies. Have you ever seen assembly, the National Assembly, argue a bill and then come out with a no if it has been approved by Paul Biya? It's because the French have told them that this is what you are going to say, no matter the argument. And when people are arguing in the assembly and you look into it, you really see that the point they are talking is true, but at the end of the day, what France has determined for La République is what is going to come out. French people, yes, La République du Cameroon citizens, you better wake up and see that you save yourselves, or else the mess you are going to go into it. France is still the master, the puppet master, remote controlling everything that is going on in France. I saw one La République come out to regret and was giving statistics of a certain company that is making 950,000 and giving La République 230 million, whatever thing it was. That's to tell you that you are just there as stooges, you know. And this is a company that the La Republicans can bring in their own company and then make it. I remember back in Ambazonia, we had this young man who had his road construction company. And when there is a major road to be constructed, either give it to France. I don't know what that their company is, but then there was this German company, a docketer, that they finally drove it out of the country. It was doing a powerful, wonderful job to last. And then they get these people to just come and paint the roads. You know, they dig it, put gravels, throw other things there, and just come and paint the road. And then before tomorrow, you find the road has gone back to square zero. That is to show you that La République has signed a pact with France. If France wants La République to prosper and to develop, it will happen. But so long as they say no development in La République, it will never. No wonder, you know, anybody that comes. I remember some years ago, my younger brother went and learned how to make this foam, you know, mattresses from Nigeria, and came back home and was to set up a small industry. But because French and the French people who are there, they have the might to do whatever they want to do, they will not want any competitor. And that's why their supermarkets are only their own. If any Bamileke person who is a businessman wants to come up with that kind of a supermarket, either he's given taxes that he folds up or he's cut short, because they want everybody to buy from the French people who are taking the money and sending it back to develop their country, and we are paupers. But that is La République du Cameroon. Ambazonia has said no to it. We are getting ready, as our historian reminded us, to give equipment imported in the first 5-10 years free into Ambazonia to make our farms and to produce industrial machines. I mean, it's going to be serious, wonderful. We are going back to the 1950s in Ambazonia. And so, ladies and gentlemen, with this, we'll call it quit for today. But before we go, can you just listen to When I Remember? And then when you listen to When I Remember, we will come right back and tell you where we are. All right, sister, go ahead. When I Remember.
Hallelujah. When I remember his goodness.
Whenever I listen to this, I remember where I came from in the late 60s, when I saw what I saw in the early 70s, before we were completely broken down. When I remember, I say we are going right back to Ambazonia. But then, before I remember, I want to tell Ambazonians that Abba Father, he knows your name. And because he knows your name, get ready, because very soon.
Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. You know my name, oh Daddy. You know me, you know my name.
Thank you very much, brother, as we turn around and see the Lord and see his hands upon our lives. We are very, very convinced and we are very, very sure that at the end of the day, we will make it. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Amba time. Don't forget to get ready. The draft is coming up and it's coming up very, very soon. Dear draft.
The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years,